Losing fat while gaining muscle? Is it possible? This is known as body recomposition, and a lot of people think that it's unachievable or only available to a select group of people. This isn't entirely true, and it's been found time and time again in multiple studies that some people can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss 3 tips that you can integrate today to help you achieve just that. Welcome back to another video. I'm Brendan Martinez. I'm currently getting my doctorate in physical therapy. Like I just mentioned, we're going to be discussing body recomposition. So we're going to discuss 3 tips that you can integrate into your daily routine and your exercise program to help you burn fat and build muscle at the same time. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into the first tip, which is increasing your protein intake. A 2022 research article looked at protein intake promoting body recomposition in older women performing resistance training. They looked at 130 untrained women and they separated them into 3 groups, a low, moderate, and high protein intake. They all performed a whole body resistance training program for 24 weeks, which consisted of 8 exercises for 3 sets of 8 to 15 reps, and they did this 3 times per week. Following this study, they found that the moderate to higher protein intake groups had more body recomposition than the lower protein intake group. The moderate group was taking 60 to 80 grams of protein per day, while the high group was taking 70 to 90 grams of protein per day. Your recommended protein intake is going to vary person to person. It's going to depend on your height, your weight, and many other factors. However, these ranges can give you a good goal on how much protein you should at least be shooting for each day. A free app on the App Store that I personally use to track my protein intake is MyFitnessPal. This is not a sponsored video, but I highly recommend that you download this app. They make it very easy to log your food, and your protein intake is going to be right there in front of you. Now, just to give you some foods that are very high in protein, we have lean beef, chicken, salmon, eggs, peanut butter, low-fat cottage cheese, lentils, and pasta. Now, disclaimer, I am not a dietitian, but implementing these foods into your diet can be a great way to increase your protein intake. Now that we've discussed tip number 1, let's jump into the second tip, which is going to be resistance training. Resistance training is my wheelhouse, and in numerous studies, body recomposition was observed. One study looked at 99 older women training for 24 weeks, looking at their initial body fat and how it influenced body recomposition. They found that the higher initial mass that you have, the more body recomposition that can take place. However, this is not exclusive to people with a higher BMI. Now, the literature demonstrating body recomposition has highly variable set of design, method, and outcomes. So setting a set in stone plan or program for body recomposition is very difficult. However, we do know it is achievable with resistance training, and here's a few things that you can implement to help increase the likelihood that body recomposition will happen in you. Now, the first strategy is to implement a resistance training regimen consisting of at least 3 days per week. Then the second strategy is to track your progress and recovery so you can make appropriate changes to your training as needed. And then the third strategy is to increase your protein intake, like we covered earlier in the video, and to also implement the third tip that we're about to go over right now. And tip number 3 is to optimize recovery. If you go from not eating enough protein, drinking too much on the weekends, and only sleeping 5 hours per night, to eating sufficient protein, reducing your alcohol intake, and improving your sleep, you're going to be able to lose some fat, gain some muscle, and experience some body recomposition. But more specifically, we're really going to focus on sleep. Studies have shown that the average person gets less than 7 hours of sleep per night. And for some of you, you would be ecstatic if you could even get 7 hours. Now let's talk about how much sleep you should be getting to promote muscle growth. Research is showing that you should at least be getting 7 hours of sleep, and you should aim to be in that 7 to 9 hour range. It's also suggested that a reduction in sleep can lead to a catabolic environment. And basically, a catabolic environment means that your body is breaking down or destroying your muscle mass. Not getting enough sleep also decreases protein synthesis, which ultimately will favor muscle loss. And lastly, a decrease in sleep will prolong your recovery time. It is going to hinder your performance at the gym, and if you try and do a weight that you were doing in the past, it may be too difficult for you to do today. Because of all the factors I just discussed, it's essential that we get the right amount of sleep. So we're going to go over 3 strategies that you can implement to hopefully help improve your sleep. Strategy number 1 is to turn off blue light and electronics. Having your blue light on disrupts your natural production of melatonin, which is a hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle, which can keep you up longer and make it harder to fall asleep. Try and turn off the blue light and any electronics at least an hour before you go to sleep, and hopefully this will improve the quality and quantity of your sleep overall. And strategy number 2 is to exercise regularly. This theme ties perfectly into this video and the second tip that we discussed. There is definitive evidence that moderate aerobic exercise increases the amount of slow wave sleep you get, and slow wave refers to deep sleep. Now, while there is debate on what time you should be exercising to encourage sleep, as long as you're performing some kind of exercise, you will see improvements. And strategy number 3 is to not consume caffeine late in the day. 6 hours after caffeine is consumed, half of it is still in your body, and it can take up to 10 hours for caffeine to completely clear your bloodstream. Because of this, if you're trying to go to sleep at 10 p.m., you shouldn't consume caffeine after 2 p.m., and this can help minimize your sleep issues. Ultimately, if you've tried everything and it hasn't been working, you should 100% consult your doctor. Roughly 10% of adults meet the criteria for insomnia disorder, and there are strategies and medications that your doctor can discuss to help with this condition. To recap, if you want to burn fat and build muscle at the same time, you need to increase your protein intake, start resistance training, and optimize your recovery specifically through sleep. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. And don't forget to hit push notifications to make sure you never miss an upload. That's all I got for today. I'll see you in the next video.